Hi there, I'm Qui-dam, your satisfied expert in human in the world. And today I'm gonna finish what I started with Caitlyn. The psychological analysis, of course. Our plan is the next. First, a little recap of her basics. And second, the outcomes we've got by the end of season 2, with some Google translation from her phrases and actions into deep and simple ideas. Yes, I like that format with Victor. So, let's start. Earlier, we figured out that Caitlyn was raised up in an emotional cage where on one hand she could get everything that was approved, and on another her behavior and self-discipline. That developed two personalities in Cait, a misfit inner child who just wants to play cheerfully and be accepted for who she is, and a spoiled mongoose, a defense mechanism to protect the inner child from her parents' pressure. She was trying to overcome that cage by making her own decisions, but, in fact, she projected her inner fight onto the world around her, recreating this scenario again, and again. Still, thanks to a boy who helps her both personalities to feel safe, at ease, and not needing to prove she's worth acceptance, Cait gets the possibility to override it. If you want to dive into the details, check out the first part of Caitlyn's deep psychological analysis here. But I must admit it was really depressing, because by the end of Act 2, Season 2, Caitlyn just returned to the same point in her scenario as when she stood up against her mother, protecting Vi, their little journey, and her choices. But I must also admit I was really pleased to see what happened next. The last act of season 2 presents us with two great tendencies in Caitlyn's psychological development. First, she is finally accepting the bad, as she considered to be, side of her personalities, forgiving her inner child for having wishes and needs, and her spoiled mongoose for behaving as a spoiled mongoose. Second, she is finally facing the consequences of her actions. Literally, I guess. She is not hiding behind her status or using tricks, and not giving her responsibilities for her actions to someone else anymore. But she is fitting herself into the society harmoniously, sometimes defending her choices, sometimes stepping aside. And that's what brings her the inner peace. Here is the point of no return when she starts rebuilding her inner construction. We can observe these two tendencies.
I saw it in her eyes. She will burn Piltover to the ground for my betrayal.
I think I've done something wrong. And now it's my turn to face the consequences of my actions. And they might be really hard this time.
We can't erase our mistakes. None of us.
It's my self-hate again. And by the way, Vi has just spoke into that hurting place. Look, I'm still thinking if I've been ever right to do all the things I've done. I'm not sure if I'm ready to accept those sides of me yet.
I'm a misfit too, I suppose.
The scene in still water with Jinx is Caitlyn's self-trial.
Vi thinks you've changed.
I'm not ready to accept that evil side of yours and mine. But I'm trying to do so cause Vi has shown me twice already that this side can be accepted. Let me remind you that Caitlyn saw Jinx being happy, surrounded by Vander, Aisha, and Vi, and then just losing two of them and doing everything trying to save Vi, no matter the cost.
The only thing Jinx cared about was getting you to safety. Then she just surrendered. I didn't even have time to think before they hauled her off.
And now Jinx is helpless here, not wanting to fight back, not looking for a happy ending, lost her wishes and gave up on herself. By showing her true emotional state, Jinx actually helps Caitlyn to see what she was doing to herself too, punishing herself, blaming for wanting something, not accepting the whole complex reality, and believing that the past can be changed by erasing a guilty side of oneself. So Jinx reminds of Caitlyn's inner child, hated for having a wish, cause fulfilling this wish so stubbornly hurt her beloved one.
Is that all you have to say for yourself?
Are you going to give up on yourself so easily? I won't let you. And I won't let myself to do so.
There won't be a trial. I'm giving you this one chance to account for your actions, all the pain you've caused.
It's not only about killing my mother, it's also the remains of my own anger towards myself, towards my inner girl who wanted freedom and acceptance, and because of whom I did all those reckless things. I hated her, and I called her a misfit myself, and for that I hated myself more, 'cause it was me who did all of this, who chose all those reckless things.
No amount of good deeds can undo our crimes.
But they are at different emotional stages. I mean, Caitlyn has practically finished grieving while Jinx just begins.
Hating you. I've hated myself. I just don't have the energy for it any longer.
I realize my situation now. I feel sorry and pity for myself. I understand and probably, can accept my different sides and their needs, good or bad. Everyone actually has their own reasons and conditions to behave the way they do. Also, Jinx confirms that each of them has their own perspective. She was not intending to harm Caitlyn's mother,
I didn't know your mom was there.
but her actions led to such a horrible finale. And while she accepts that it was her deed and that it was wrong, and now she's ready to take responsibility for her action.
It probably wouldn't have made a difference, but
By the way, showing Caitlyn's mongoose side, a really good example.
I didn't know.
And I'm ready to hear your side of the story. And that's why I'm listening. The second scene in Still Waters with Vi this time is a repeat of her self-trial. Or to be more specific, it's a test. Are you sure you have accepted a new paradigm of yourself? Caitlyn again sees her reflection, her self-hate. But this time it's more about her defense mechanism, her spoiled mongoose, rather than about her inner child.
You told me so. I was an idiot to trust her. I went behind your back.
Just like Caitlyn, when she chose to go on her little journey behind her mother's and her boss's back.
I choose wrong every time. And because of it, I lost everyone.
Just like Cait when her venture turned, in her opinion, into Cassandra's death, and her grief and revenge distance her from Vi. And again, but more willingly, Caitlyn is choosing herself, choosing to accept herself, and by doing it, she's more dramatic. No, more alive, or better say, spontaneously playing and relaxed here, and can easily accept Vi and her inner conflict and understand her.
You really think I needed all the guards at the Hex Gates? Sorry to say, you've grown a bit predictable. Listen, while you were gone, I saw someone.
Listen, I think I did something wrong. I don't like what I did, and I'm afraid that you won't like it too, and won't accept me. But I'm ready to take the responsibility for my actions. You've accepted me again, and I want to open up to you fully. Could you forgive me for the wounds I left you? Could you open up to me again? I'm not letting you go. I'll be gentle with you. So, Vi and Jinx help Caitlyn to accept her inner child needs and wishes and her spoiled mongoose traits and behavior. When facing consequences means being alive. A really cool phrase. I like it. The author is great. Okay, back to Caitlyn. She now has things that she treasures. She's ready to fight for them. She is ready to take responsibility for her mistakes, even the ones that were not so obvious. And she gets her dose of other people's revenge on her.
Desperation is the doorway to oblivion, child.
Let me say some words about Maddie. Even though Arcane screenwriters confirmed that she was Noxian from the start and was spying in favor of Ambassa, I still believe she had some feelings towards Caitlyn. Well, cause it's impossible just to have nothing after so many intimate moments. So I would say that by this scene she got really mad at Caitlyn. Or even, I guess, she hates her hair. And hate is love, grown angry cause of the rejection. I just love this phrase and I wanted to mention it. Thank you. Actually, when I heard that Maddie was a spy the whole time, I was really disappointed. Cause I had my own expectations. I mean, that Maddie betrayed them in the very end cause Vi showed up and Caitlyn lost her interest in Maddie. And that's how disappointment is working. You have your some a kind of a picture, some expectations of the world, and suddenly the reality just doesn't match with it. It's different, and you feel sad because you're losing your idea of the world. And you feel angry because something or someone is trying to replace this idea in your inner world about the reality with something you don't like. And it's using a really cruel method against you, the real reality. Okay, back to Caitlyn. She's standing up against the vessel boldly, and this is another sign of her new path of rewriting her scenario and saying that that emotional cage is not good for her anymore. She's done with it. She wants and chooses another way of existing. Though she's using the same methods, fighting, but it's not likely she has any other choice. This new path is so essential for her that she sacrifices her eye. I won't call it a payment for freedom or a price for her mistakes, cause she has already left her grief and revenge and forgiven herself for her past and accepted her mistakes and other stuff. It's better call it a part of changing the course with specific conditions that have their frames an eye out. Sometimes taking a leap forward means leaving a few things behind, and Caitlyn more likely thinks this way. Her new state after all this fight, loss, revenge, and fight again is best described here.
We, whose decisions led us here, will carry them forever. Our only consolation that with every loss, we found some good, some light, worth gaining, worth fighting for.
She has finally found her peace.
Our story isn't over.
I hope you enjoyed this video because I definitely did. Our next stop will be Vi, the second part of her analysis, but that video won't be so satisfying as this one. And then goes Jinx with some Echoes edition. And we're going to cry silently. So, if you don't want to miss it, subscribe please. Also, This structural analysis was based on my theory of anything. And if you want to dive into it and explore more about your deep inner parts, you're welcome here. Yep. And if you want to support me, the link is on my page. See you later, guys.